And we're live.
Okay, well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Alliance live stream, the second live stream, in fact, for the Alliance community. We are going to have a great show for you guys today. I'm your host, Ramon Azab, a.k.a. Remon with the Alliance. I have Cheeky Cutie. Okay, well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Alliance live stream, the second live stream, in fact, for the Alliance community.
Hello.
We are going to have a great show for you guys today. I'm your host, Ramon Azab, a.k.a. Remon with the Alliance.
Whoever you are.
Cheeky Cutie.
Okay,
well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Alliance live stream, the second live stream, in fact,
here with us
for the Alliance community.
Hello.
We are going to have a great show for you guys today. I'm your host, Ramon Azab, a.k.a. Remon with the Alliance.
Whoever you are.
Cheeky Cutie. Okay, well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Alliance live stream, the second live stream, in fact,
here with us
for the Alliance community.
Hello.
We are going to have a great show for you guys today.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, man.
I'm good. You're gonna
Excellent.
forget me there for a second.
No. I could never forget you. You're
Always
also
a champion.
you're gonna be our guest room guy next week. We're not doing it this week. Unfortunately, we're not prepared. But next week we're gonna have some people actually come on to the stream and ask their questions live on the show, and we'll have them come over into the Discord, into the guest room area. We'll get you ready and set up with a live show tag, and then bring you onto the show to ask your question to the panel. So, yeah, guys, we got an update this week. We actually pretty interesting. We have a new character in the game that nobody knew was coming. We got Bodhi Rook. So just to get into some of the news here to get us kicked off, Bodhi Rook has been released for to celebrate the release of the Blu-ray DVD for Rogue One, and you can claim him for free, a 2-star Bodhi Rook in the store with a pack that also gives you some resources for the game as well. I believe some crystals and some credits. And then he was put into the Galactic War store to obtain him to 7 stars. So haven't had a Galactic War character in quite a while. So it's great to see that they added a new Galactic War character. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's exciting to have someone new in Galactic War. Hi, by the way, I had a total fail and I was on mute before when I was trying to say hello to everybody. I am here.
Cheeky is here. I thought your voice got a little deep, but I mean, it's good that you made it. And Maurice, what do you think about Bodhi Rook? Have you tried him out? I heard you have a 7-star already.
Close, man. Very close. He's at 3-star. I think he's gonna be pretty good. I think he's gonna be pretty good, like a raid type of PvE character. I think he's gonna be pretty dope.
I'm not sold on him yet. I think he's pretty cool looking. I think he's gonna be a lot more viable than Pow, for example. But I'm not sure where you put him exactly. I had this discussion a little bit earlier this week. I was on the Reality Skewed Gamers live show with them, and shout out to those guys. Definitely check out their channel. They have great streams on Wednesday nights. But the thing is, I don't really know who you take out in a Rogue One squad to add Bodhi Rook. I mean, you kind of need, if you're putting Cassian in there, K2SO as well, you kind of need Chirrut if you have Baze in there. And then, I mean, you're running a Jin lead because she's the only one with the leader ability there. So, I mean, who do you take out of that team to put Bodhi Rook in there? I just don't see that working. I mean, maybe with like another Rebel squad, maybe with like a Wedge and Biggs team. Maybe you run Wedge, Biggs, Chirrut, Baze, and Bodhi Rook.
But even then, I'd still think that you'd rather have like Biston in there, or I mean somebody else. I mean, I don't see where he would. I don't see where he would be an upgrade to anybody currently in any team. So.
I think there are some teams where you might not want K2SO. Say, like, you could get really squishy, you could get the jump on him. You don't need those 2 tanks. You could go more offensive, especially against like a mall lead. If you can nuke them real quick, you might be better off than going 2 tanks on that team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a chance for him. I mean, listen, I didn't think that Chief Chirper was going to be any kind of helpful character inside in the AAT raid, and he ended up being the bee's knees. So ultimately, he may eventually be an essential character for some build or some new game mode or a new raid. But right now, like I said, in my personal opinion, I don't see where he's like an upgrade to anybody. I understand why they're releasing him now. I understand why they're releasing Pound now, because they're just trying to release him with the new Rogue One DVD and kind of coincide with the release of that. But I don't see there being they saved the worst for last in this case, in my personal opinion. And anyway, moving on, they made some bug fixes as well. I believe Admiral Akbar's special ability, Tactical Genius, will no longer persist through encounters. They fixed the Ahsoka special abilities wording. I believe they actually misspelled it. Hera's backup plan ability now uses the correct buff icon, and they fixed an issue where Palpatine's AoE attacks were causing an error for some players. They also adjusted Biggs Darklighter's X-Wing Daring Assault ability will now grant the proper amount of protection when an enemy becomes target locked. So that's a big deal. I know that actually is going to help out Biggs Darklighter a lot. I believe he's been broken, up to this point. Has anybody, tested this out? Does anybody have a Biggs Darklighter in their ship arena and seen a difference?
I have. He's a lot less useful.
He's less useful. Okay.
I used to put him over my Sunfac as my most useful tank in ships. Now I would have to give Sunfac the edge.
So what was the problem? He was getting too much protection, and now they gave him less? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So one of his abilities gives him return protection based on certain circumstances. I don't remember exactly. But basically, he was getting double the protection that he now receives. So they basically cut it in half.
So he got nerfed, essentially. Okay.
Yeah,
he's not bad.
Big time, in my opinion.
I still think he's going to be an important character. I mean, he's one of the easier to attain characters to 7 stars. He's one of the easier ships to get to 7 stars. And I mean, he taunts, and he also calls in assist. I still think he's going to be an important piece to most ship lineups, but I mean, that's kind of a blow. I've been using him the last few days. I haven't really seen a huge difference, but then again, I mean, there's people that probably play a lot more ship battles than I do. So,
yeah, I mean,
now,
as far as tank options for ships, you don't have many. We'll just throw that out there. You pretty much got Sunfac, Biggs, and maybe one other option out there. So he doesn't drop off too much. He's still definitely viable with his taunts and the things that you mentioned. I just think this puts Sunfac ahead of him.
Okay, makes sense. Now, the Phoenix Squad is all out. So every one of the Phoenix characters has now been made available. We've got Sabine Wren available now as well. And I got a chance to take a look at her a little bit in my own game, and then I saw some videos about her, leveled up a bit higher. I believe I saw somebody had a Gear 10 video. I believe Smithy D actually posted a video earlier today with Sabine. She looks interesting. I mean, that Darksaber strike looks terrifyingly close to the truncheon strike from Jyn Erso. Has anybody else noticed that? Looks almost like the same exact attack, except she's got a Darksaber instead of that truncheon.
Yeah, it really does. I think they just use like the exact same attack animation model, to be honest.
She does like the electric slide, and then she slaps somebody with her Darksaber.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was going to look a lot cooler than that, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like the first like non-Jedi lightsaber. I mean, with the exception of Asajj Ventress, I guess. But I mean, it's like the first like non-Jedi or Sith lightsaber, and it's actually like the only black lightsaber that exists out there. And it sucks. It looks like she's doing the hokey pokey out there. Does anybody else have any good experiences with Sabine since she's been out? Anybody got her geared up a little bit? Anybody seen anything that they think is interesting about her? What do you guys think about her with the Phoenix Squad or as a rebel in general? I mean, do you think she adds any value to the rebel team? Let's go with
these guys. They're all like, I can't get them anytime soon. You know, I'm totally free to play, and so I never pay much attention to these new characters when they come out because I know it's going to be an awfully long time before I can do anything with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not free to play, but I'm not going to drop that kind of money for them in particular. Viable, yeah, they definitely will be with that synergy. They might be pretty awesome. I just didn't think anyone would be worth me just going ham on solo. I think they need to be a collective to be amazing.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like they're very reliant upon each other. So it seems like you're going to need to have a full Phoenix Squad to have them all work. Because I mean the main benefit is Hera's leader ability, right? So they all get the same. They all get the uniques from each other. So you're going to get stacking offense from Ezra. You're going to get the counterattack from Kanan. What's Sabine's unique? Does anybody know?
She gets more critical chance and more critical damage.
Right. So they all kind of give like a little bit of a different bonus with their unique. So all together, you're getting like a great set of unique abilities to add to every single person. So I can see maybe all together them working pretty well. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what a full like maxed out 7-star Phoenix Squad can do against a Sith team right now. But I don't imagine much. I still imagine that the Sith team is going to be king right now. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Maurice, you agree? McLeod, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it does seem to look like how it's going. It's that Zeta thing. It's the artificial inflation of people's ability to get up there with teams just by dropping a Zeta on Darth Maul. And I've been seeing some very unusual comms coming through my shard. So there's a few people running the Rex to counter that, but the majority of people have just invested in getting one set of Zetas, dumping it on Darth Maul, and then surrounding him with a few dark side characters. And they're jumping in there into the top 20, which is really annoying because I'm having to waste a few battles to get past them or get back up.
Right. What makes me wonder is since they just released these characters, it's probably going to be a while before they touch them and make any adjustments to them, right? So I feel like we're not going to see Phoenix Squad Zetas for some time now. And I think without a Zeta, I think they're going to be lacking something. And I think that some of the I still think that personally, and this is just my opinion, I still think a Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta team will dog that team. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know. No. I mean, I think a Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta team. I think a Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta team will beat the Rebels. I think a Vader Zeta team will beat those Phoenix Squad Rebels. I think a Darth Maul Zeta team will beat those Rebels. Heck, I even think maybe a clone team could beat those Rebels.
Yeah, I mean, the Zeta thing is making the power of a lot of squads a lot higher than it should be, especially if you look at the squad power. I mean, it's disproportionate of how low a squad power you can have now, so long as you have that Zeta in there doing its work. So, yeah, you're probably right on that. Now, I'm not sure they're going to be throwing Zetas on these new characters anytime soon, but they are due for some. As they said, they will be releasing more as the game goes on. We'll
Exactly.
see what direction they go with that.
Exactly.
They got to put them on somewhere. Someone in my guild's gonna be very happy if they suddenly drop a Zeta on some Ewoks and make them viable again.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Wicket, man. I want Wicket.
Yeah,
give us
and
Wicket.
Then drop a Zeta on like Chirper or something, or even I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever.
I still want some droid love. I want Zeta droids and I want Zeta Jawas. Give me Zeta Jawas. I just want Jawas that can, Jawas that do like 100% critical damage.
We all know
Jawas looked
Remon.
like they might be useful at some point, but dropped off so quick as soon as that raid came out, and
Yeah.
everyone spent ages pre-crafting them to just get them ready for that raid, and then they really weren't that great.
Yeah, I'd like to see a General Grievous rework and maybe some Zetas for the droids. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, droid. There's not a single Zeta on a droid. Oh, speaking of news, like no one's really mentioned this, or I haven't heard much chatter into the Discord or any of the forums. But R2D2 is in the game technically. He is there. I don't know if he's coming as playable, but he's in the game.
He's actually like in the inventory right now.
No. He's the final kind of boss level for the chopper. The chopper. Droid.
Oh
challenge.
yes. He actually
On tier
was.
3.
He actually was in the last hard node, I think, as well, right? Wasn't he already like one of the characters in the last hard node before that? Like I think he was in either dark side or light side. He's the last battle.
Oh, right. I don't think I've got to the final hard challenges on that.
I think he's like after the short trooper node or after the base node.
Okay.
I think but I could be wrong. I might be dark side. Anyway, he's in the game. I'm hoping he adds a lot of value to the Rebels. Whenever he does get released, but I haven't heard anything about him coming out anytime soon.
No, neither do I. But it was just cool to see him there, and the animation on that little oil slick thing is very cool.
Oh yeah, it looks really cool. I agree. Now, another ominous note here is, like I said, all the characters for Phoenix Squad have been released. It says it's time to rise together. And then the next little tidbit here is actually sort of an ominous, an ominous message saying an Imperial threat rises. So, they kind of did something similar to this with the Sith when they were releasing Darth Nihilus. They said the dark side is rising. You know what I mean? So I'm sure they're hinting at another character coming out here. What are your guys' thoughts? I'm going to start with Cheeky here. What are your thoughts about the new about the Imperial threat rises? What do you think that means?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's going to be the release of another dark side character. I mean, we've got all these new Rebels and Phoenix and stuff, but I feel like the dark side is still so strong. I don't know that we need another epic dark side character right now, but we'll see, I guess.
What about like a release of like a big one, like a Revan or something of that nature?
That would be amazing. I don't think they would say Imperial threat rises though. I think they would just say like I mean, they'd say something else. Revan would be a really big deal. I don't think he would just come like that. Plus, he's never been a part of the Empire. So I mean, that's separate. What about you, McLeod? What do you think is coming next?
Well, I mean, if you're a fan of the Rebels TV show like I am, I mean, there's a bunch to pick from. You've got a bunch of Grand Moffs and Grand Admirals that could be coming your way. Most obvious one's going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn. Would be good to see him in there. He's obviously in a couple of other Star Wars games, so it does seem like there's a lot of mirroring of content that they're allowing for characters. So that's probably my best bet on that.
Anybody else want to share their opinions before I move on?
Probably see Callus as well. Maybe the Inquisitor.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you guys. My personal opinion is the characters that are not in this game that are in Star Wars Force Arena. So, you're talking about the Grand Inquisitor, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Agent Callus, maybe even Dr. Aphra, somebody like that. I think we could see characters like that come into the game. I'm not sure, which one it'll be or if it's multiple, but I think it's going to be the characters that we've already seen. I think any characters that are already in Star Wars Force Arena are going to be in Galaxy of Heroes now that they've released all the Rogue One characters. I'm sorry, all the Rebels characters from the TV show. But we'll see. I mean, if they do come in, I mean, I'd like to see them, add value to some Empire squad. Unfortunately, the problem is right now, unless they bring a real boss leader ability into the game, I just don't see anything dethroning Darth Maul, unless it's adding turn meter to the defense on a crit, because if you're not going to get faster, you have to get more turn meter. So I don't know what they're going to do. The only counter to that right now really is like Rex, right? So, I mean, if they don't create some way to speed up the Empire or some way to speed up the Rebels or to give them more turn meter from a leader ability, I'm kind of curious how they're going to change the meta from what it is right now. I don't see anybody, trumping the Sith until somebody gets really, really fast. So, I mean, they're going to have to either add like 100 speed to some team or, give them all like a speed unique increase with a leader ability or something like what happened with like Wedge and Biggs where they all get like plus speed based upon buffs and things like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking, it's going to be kind of tough to beat these Sith unless, some of these other teams get faster. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm running a Zeta team, and I know that they are horrendously slow. So if they can do a super speedy dark side team, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Now, just to move on here, the last part of the update is that they actually just released a Cassian's U-Wing bundle. So the ship that we were all going to get in the tournament a couple of months ago, they decided to hold off on for almost 4 months and then sell us for $40. Has anybody bought that ship?
Negative.
No.
I don't think it's good enough for me to buy it right now, personally. I wish it was a little bit better, honestly.
I imagine that the sales for this ship are going to be the same as if they tried to sell POW for 1,299 crystals. So I don't think it's going to. I don't think there's tons of sales with the Cassian ship. I think the Cassian ship should have just been dropped into the fleet shipments because it's been so long. But I guess they decided to wait also with the Rogue One release of the DVD to break that out. So I was never really impressed with the ship, to be honest with you, in the first place. When I looked at the abilities when the ship first came out back in December, we were talking about how we didn't think the ship was that great. Now that we've waited 3 months later, the ship is still not that great. And on top of that, you must have all three Rogue One characters, Jyn Erso, Cassian Andor, and K2SO to max the ship out. So, and some of the I happen to have them all maxed out, but not everybody does. So I'm sure that's not a common thing. So, again, it's a ship that needs 3 characters, and on top of that, the abilities not so great from what I saw. But to each their own. I'm sure there'll be some other group of ships, or maybe they'll add a new ship that makes this ship better. We've yet to see a new capital ship in the game. I'm sure that's coming soon too. A lot of people have been hinting at maybe a new Gunray capital ship coming at some point, so that could happen. But
I think that was just marketing on their part. Like, if the Rogue One characters were not farmable, that might be a worthwhile buy because you get Jyn, K2. At least usable. But now it's just stupid. Why would you buy that pack now? It just doesn't make sense.
The only bright side, though, is those are the 3 easiest of the Rogue One characters, I think, personally released right now in the game, because you can farm all of them. I think those 3 required for the ship are the easiest to farm out of the 5. So, at least you have that.
Well, the big benefit, and that's what I'm hearing in the chat here from some of the people typing in the chat. What's up to everybody out there, by the way, is that you're getting the shards for these characters also. So you're getting shards for Jyn, you're getting shards for K2SO, you're getting shards for Cassian. So that actually adds a lot more value to the pack than just the ship, right? And I think you're getting a lot, right? Like, aren't you getting like 80 Jyn shards or something like that?
Yes.
That's a lot of shards. That's a lot of shards for a character who only appears maybe once every couple days in your guild shipments. So, I mean, that could definitely be a significant boost towards finishing Jyn. If you already got her maybe started up in the tournament, and now you're maybe 100, 200 shards away from finishing her up, the pack could be a great boost to get you on your way to getting that done. So, in that regard, I think shards wise, yeah, it actually is pretty good. You're getting 80 ship shards, I think 80 Jyn shards, and then you're getting shards for K2SO and Cassian also. So, I mean, value-wise, I could see it, but again, I'm just not thrilled about the ship, and that's what they're marketing with the pack is the ship. So,
I just don't feel like a 4-star Cassian Z-Wing is going to change my life all too much. But anyway, that's the news. Now we're going to move on to the next segment of the live show, which is going to be the McLeod Meta Report. McLeod, take it away, my friend.
All right. There's not a lot of movement, but there was one very strange thing that's popped up, and I don't know whether it's a glitch in the way that the data is collected or what. But essentially, we've still got a massive chunk of Darth Maul leads here in the top 10. The number 1 spot there locked out with nearly 50% of all users who are registered using Darth Maul as a lead.
It's
With
insane.
yeah, it's still there, and you still got nearly a whole third more using Rex as the counter to that. And then pretty much all the usual suspects are exactly the same positions. So after Maul and Rex, you got everyone in the same positions as last week. So you got Wedge, Darth, Qui-Gon, Nihilus, General Kenobi, Boba Fett, Jyn Erso. Now here's where the weird one comes in. We did have an Emperor Palpatine in front of Jyn, and for some reason he has dropped off in favor of Clone Sergeant Phase 1, which to my knowledge has no leader ability.
No, he doesn't.
And there's a whole 14 people in this little section of the data that are doing it. So I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it's just some kind of universal protest to be like, okay, we know it's a Darth Maul meta, we don't care anymore.
Could that be a typo? I mean, is that real? Is that definitely legit?
Yeah, I mean, I've checked the data on the site. I refreshed it a few times, and it's been there the last couple of days, and I'm not entirely sure why. So, like I said, unless there's a disconnect into whatever tag that goes with that character has somehow been swapped out for Emperor Palpatine, although I don't see how there's any crossover there at all. 14 people are using Clone Sergeant Phase 1 as a leader for no good reason. Maybe just to say the heck with the meta, we're just going to throw this in there because we like the dude. So, yeah.
That's nuts.
It is crazy. We'll see if that switches out in the next couple of days. I'll report back on that just to see if it was a glitch or if people are doing it for some reason. But otherwise, zero movement in terms of leaders. If you want to say that should be a slot, then
so more people are running Clone Sergeant lead right now than Emperor Palpatine, I guess.
Well, no, apparently in the top 10, no one is running Emperor Palpatine over Clone Sergeant. And before there were only 22 people doing that. Jyn was below that.
How do you even get in the top 10 with Clone Sergeant lead? I mean, how do you beat a Darth Maul Zeta team with Clone Sergeant lead? I mean, that's gonna be.
I don't think you do. This is why it's an extremely strange kind of occurrence that he's even there. But enough people have done it that he displaced Emperor Palpatine. So all those people who were using Palpatine just kind of went, the heck with it. Well, yeah, let's use Clone Sergeant. So or there's a glitch in the data. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's saying that the meta report includes new low-level shards too. So maybe it's like coming from some of those low-level shards that that don't really have characters with leader abilities.
Well,
that may be a massive new influx of new players because I believe Clone Sergeant is just gifted to you as part of your starting squad, isn't it? It's you get him, Jedi Consular, and little Ewok dude. So that's about it. That's the only reason I can think he's actually in there is just the sheer amount of new signups managed to displace Palpatine somehow because Palpatine and Jyn both were locking out the bottom there with 22 each, and Jyn now has 20, and Clone Sergeant has 14.
The only person I can imagine that could win with a Clone Sergeant lead against like a Darth Maul Zeta team would be like Skycrack, right? Because he could just speed up.
Yeah, just like every other.
All the other characters would just be bananas, and Clone Sergeant could just suck. He could probably have like a 300 speed Clone Sergeant if you wanted to. So I mean, his Clone Sergeant is not the same as my Clone Sergeant, basically.
No, I mean, I don't know what the max speed you get with 26 is the max anyone's seen on a secondary. So you got 30 plus 26. That's you can put 130-ish speed on top of Clone Sergeant, and even then, unless his amazing ability to take away turn meter over and over again at that speed, I still don't think you're taking down Darth Maul and a bunch of Sith. But hey, he's in there. I don't know if that theory is correct because doesn't it Squad Arena only unlocks at a certain level as well. So
Right, you're right. You're
who
right.
knows? Who knows why he's in there? But that's the amusing bit of
Oh, that's
movement.
interesting.
Otherwise, we've got a basically static meta for the first time ever. If you don't count that little glitch there, everyone's in exactly the same positions, more or less the same amount, and yeah, hardly any change there at all.
Well,
And
what's interesting though too is that you're talking about Rex and Maul being the dominant characters in the meta. So you're talking about let's see here, two characters that were pretty much pay to play only for the longest time that just recently became free to play just about a month or two ago. Or a little bit more than that. They came free to play when the ships came out, so about 3-4 months ago. But I mean, they're relatively new to the free to play ranks, and now they're dominating the leaderboard. So that's interesting.
Weird reason just popped into my head as to why. For some reason, if the AI tends to favor going after the leader. So maybe people are finding that their Rex is getting taken down too quickly because they're getting focused down by the AI, and they thought, oh, okay, we'll stick Clone Sergeant up there instead to protect my Rex. The only thing I can think of, but that's way out there. That's reaching already. So for whatever reason, he's in there, and yeah,
Someone's
that's
given
where
up
we're at with the
their
leader.
rank on best a friend or a shard mate that's passing it, so they just hop on Clone Sergeant.
Yeah.
The rank.
It might be, but it's a weird thing that everyone decided Clone Sergeant's the way to do it by. But yeah, if we want to move on to the squad members then that make this under your new Clone Sergeant meta lead. Again, not a heck of a lot of movement here. We've had a few small swaps in some of the upper ranks here. Darth Nihilus is still way up there as being really useful. Emperor Palpatine's still there in second. Darth Maul and General Kenobi had a little of a swap position for 3 and 4th. And then, let's see. Yep, Boba Fett and Rex, again, they did a little swaparoo down there in 7th and 8th. But essentially, your top 10 is still Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, Boba Fett, Rex, Chirrut Imwe, Baze Mabus, and then Darth Maul, Kenobi, Palpatine, and Nihilus. And again, no movement in or out of the top 10 there. So it's pretty static at the moment.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I haven't been really seeing much going on. Obviously, we got all these new characters, but again, like we were saying before, no one's really paying out to max them up. And the few people I know who have not really reported back anything great about them in terms of arena viability. So I think this is where we're at for the moment, unless someone comes up with something creative. I don't know if you guys are seeing anything on your shard. The most interesting thing I've seen on mine is a Scoundrels team, and that involves Boba Fett lead, Zam Wessel, Stormtrooper.
Are you on Castor Speller's shard?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say just Castor Speller just kind of pop in there on my shard because he would love that. But that took a while to work out. But that's an annoying team, and he's making it into the top 10 of my shard. I don't know what you guys are seeing on yours.
That's pretty interesting.
I'm a noob shard, so I'm gonna throw that out there. But I have seen all kinds of weird things being tested. The majority of my squads are running Nihilus lead or Jin lead because nobody has Zetas yet. So I've been seeing all kinds of crazy stuff lately. I've seen people run Jedi, people run weird stuff on my shard this week trying to beat those top 10 people.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting. I mean, one thing to note here is that again, it's still just very spread out. So it's like you're looking at these characters really just kind of sharing almost an equal portion in usability. I mean, like you're not that far off, let's say, from Baze Malbus and Boba Fett. I mean, they're pretty close. I mean, all the characters. I mean, obviously, Darth Nihilus has a huge share here, but I mean, it just seems like they're kind of close together, and that means great things for the game because that means that a lot of these characters are interchangeable. You can use them in different squads, and that's what I was saying last week. It's like the meta's in a place that it's never been before, where you can kind of use almost any of these characters in different squads with maybe a Boba Fett lead and make that team work. But I mean, of course, like I said, the meta is dominated by Darth Maul right now, which is interesting. The most interesting thing I've seen in my shard lately was I saw somebody break out a First Order Zeta team with Phasma Zeta. It was not easy. I'm sorry, it was not difficult to defeat. It was very easy to beat, but I did see that, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so like you dubbed it last week, we're calling this the pizza pie meta for now.
The pizza pie meta.
Pretty darn even here. So yeah, unfortunately, not much movement, not much news. I guess the big breaking news is Clone Sergeant Phase 1. So Clone Love this week.
Yeah,
that's
the biggest news to me is Clone Sergeant. But let's move on to the next topic. Thank you very much, McLeod, for the this week's meta report. Again, you can check out McLeod at Mac Media, and thank you very much for that. And we're going to go on to the next segment, which is the top 10 list by Cheeky Cutie.
Yay!
The Alliance top 10.
The weekly top 10. Yep. Yes.
Cheeky, what's this top 10 about?
Well, we don't have like a usual top 10 list of characters. We have top 10 teams this time, and it's for the Heroic AAT raid.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited. Not only about the list, but I just want to hear you say it. So let's get this crack-a-lacking. We're gonna start off with the top 10. We're gonna have you go through it. If you find anything interesting you want to talk about, share it. But otherwise, we'll have everybody on the panel, discuss the top 10, towards the end when you're done. So
I can share this with you right now. There is only one team in this whole list that I actually have. But that's okay. You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. All right, Cheeky, the stage is yours.
Alrighty. So the Heroic AAT raid has been available for 5 months, and more guilds are figuring out how to master the challenge that the tank raid provides. Working your way up the leaderboard takes practice and a solid roster, but there are clearly squads that provide huge damage in certain parts of the raid. Which of these teams give you the largest edge in raid damage? So coming in at number 10, for Phase 1, we have Zeta, Qui-Gon Jinn, Ezra, Anakin, Barriss, I'm a Gundy, and you're looking at 500 to 600k damage. You can certainly do more damage in other phases with a wide combination of teams, but Phase 1 remains a struggle to break 400k damage consistently. Qui-Gon Jinn leadership provides extra speed and protection, but the addition of Ezra Bridger to the Jedi team pushes them to new levels of damage. His assist and his dispel both increase damage opportunities on the boss, and his high base speed and health protection give him the survivability that other Jedi damage options do not have. Number 9 is for Phase 3, Zeta Vader, TIE Fighter Pilot, Royal Guard, Palpatine, and Sunfac, and you're looking at over 1.5 million damage. The Chirpa Emperor team puts out solid damage, but the Zeta Vader team is just a little bit better. By putting dots on the droid boss and prolonging the attack phase with TIE Fighter Pilot and Palpatine, this team can RNG its way to a very respectable Phase 3 score. If everyone else is putting up huge scores in Phase 2 and Phase 4, your Phase 3 difference may be important to pull just that little bit ahead. Number 8 is another Phase 3 team, Tebow, Jen, Baze, Chirrut, and Nihilus, and you're looking at 2.5 million damage. Tebow was the king of the Rancor raid, and it is nice to see him find a role in the Heroic AAT raid encounter. This interesting combination of Sith, Ewok, and Rebel characters relies on the 9999 damage of Nihilus Annihilate ability and the decent damage of Chirrut and Jin to post impressive numbers in a difficult phase of the tank raid. This is not a squad that is available to the free-to-play account right now, but in several months it will likely be an easy farm and an excellent choice in the encounter. For number 7, the one team I do have is a Phase 2 team with HK47, Jawa Engineer, Chief Nibbit, IG88, and IG86. And you're looking at 3 million plus in damage. One of the first teams to be recommended to beat the heroic AAT raid, the Jawa Droid team continues to be an excellent option for free-to-play and pay-to-play accounts to maximize Phase 2 raid damage while keeping more important characters for other phases. By avoiding using any Zeta mats, this team gives you a chance to focus your scarce resources elsewhere, putting up a solid damage number and then move on to the next raid phase. In number 6, you're looking at a Phase 2 team with Zeta Phasma, Zeta Kylo, Zeta First Order Stormtrooper, Zeta First Order TIE Pilot, and First Order Officer, and that will give you about 3.4 million damage. The most expensive team on the list, the Zeta First Order team, puts up very respectable damage at a huge increase in cost compared to the Droid Phase 2 team. Certainly not worth the effort just to increase Phase 2 damage. This team is still a reliable way to log a big score and keep your more dynamic teams available for Phase 3 and 4. Number 5, Phase 4, with Wedge, Biggs, OG, Raidhan, Baze, and Chirrut. You're looking at 4 million plus damage. This team relies on the increased offense of a Wedge lead with the squad-wide buffs of Raidhan to stick big damage on the last phase of the tank raid. It takes some practice before you figure out which abilities to use in which spots, but with a little tinkering, you can unleash millions of damage on the tank. And number 4, for Phase 1, just Zeta Kylo, and you're looking at 4.3 million damage. There is nothing particularly fun or difficult about this so-called team. Zeta Kylo Ren grants protection regen on his special attack, and his unique has a 50% chance to reset cooldowns when he receives damage. Included in his cooldown reset is the escape cooldown, which can be spammed to ensure he leaves the battle to fight again. When the enraged timer ticks down, escape Kylo Ren from the encounter, logging in a solid 150k to 200k damage, and then rinse and repeat like 20 times. Number 3 is a Phase 2 team with Zeta, Boba Fett, Tusken Shaman, Captain Phasma, and Zeta Sidious, and you're looking at 5 to 6 million in damage. Zeta Theta provides of offense and persistent dots to a team that is built on applying dots as fast as possible. Combine these devastating negative status effects with huge burst damage by Vader's saber throw and Boba Fett's execute, and you have the making of a huge damage burst. Number 2 is a Phase 2 team. Zeta Cody, Jawa Scavenger, Echo 5s, and Clone Sergeant. 8 to 9 million damage. Cody's leadership ability is combined with massive amounts of critical chance to ensure that Cody's special attack can be used as often as possible. Jawa Scavenger adds a defense down and AoE attack that the clones are otherwise lacking to greatly increase damage on the tank. Load up on the critical chance mods and watch the damage mount. And number 1 is a Phase 4 team with Zeta Cody, Echo 5s, Clone Sergeant, and Rex. You're looking at 9 million plus damage. Powered by Cody's leadership ability that grants protection regen and his assist attack whose cooldown is reduced by crits, the clone team is the most devastating force in the heroic AAT raid and can easily be the difference between first place and 30th place in the raid. So the heroic AAT meta is not particularly free to play or easy to star up, gear up, and Zeta. Given that the raid rewards for number 1 and number 50 finish are not that different, you may decide to spend your time and energy elsewhere. If you do decide to make a push for the heroic AAT leaderboard, invest wisely on characters that provide the most bang for your buck. Cody, Vader, Kylo Ren. Keep an eye on the Alliance live streams and video content for more great heroic AAT team ideas in the future.
I like how it's just Kylo 5 times for
I know.
But that's a great top 10, I think. I mean, I'm definitely interested in that Qui-Gon Jinn Ezra team. I want to try that out. Haven't tried it out with a Zeta on Barris. I want to get that done too. I actually have an available Zeta to put on somebody right now, and I've been kind of toying around with different ideas. But that's a good one too. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, McLeod, what do you think about the top 10? Anything that stands out to you that you think should be there, shouldn't be there?
No, it all seems quite like a pretty good top 10 list. I mean, I know there's a lot of Zetas in there, and a lot of it's not really free to play friendly. But you know, come on to the Discord and get some advice on that. If there's plenty of us who'll help you out there if you're still early game. But yeah, that Kylo thing, I'm not sure if that's considered a bit of an exploit there, but it's obviously not. Like I said, it's not fun going round and round with that. But that's obviously going to be quite fun and interesting to try once you stick a Zeta on Kylo there.
What I think is cool about the Kylo thing is that you can really take like a guy who has a Zeta Kylo, just bring him into a guild that needs help with an AAT raid, and he can help you, get through all of phase 1. So that really helps a guild, complete the entire raid because
that's the other thing about that. It's definitely a help to those who are a bit like on the bubble for completing and need to save a few of those extra teams for later on for P4.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's great because you can have one person take care of P1 is probably the hardest phase to get through. It was anyway at first when we first started doing the AAT raid, and then now that you have these teams that do massive damage in P2, P3, and P4, since you have that Zeta Kylo that can entirely do the entire phase 1 by himself. If you have somebody who's savvy enough to do it, that can really help a guild go from not being able to do AAT to definitely being able to do AAT just by having one Zeta Kylo on the team if it's done correctly.
Sure.
So that's a huge thing.
I still heard nothing in particular about a really good P1 team. I mean, you've got that Zeta Qui-Gon with the Ezra in there now, but again, that's not particularly attainable for most at the moment. And Kylo's probably a bit of a more viable option for most. So.
Yeah, I mean, I most of the people that I've seen using phase 1 teams are, using either Yoda lead or an Ayla lead or a Qui-Gon lead. And it's usually, I mean, they're not doing a ton of damage. They're doing some damage. Kylo literally just allows you to get through the entire. I mean, we went to help out. We went to help out one of our fellow Alliance guilds complete their AAT raid I think last week. Me, Panda, and Marth Vader, and I think maybe one other person, and it was I mean, Panda pretty much took care of phase 1 by himself. So it helped us, and he'd never done it before. It was the first time he did it. So I mean, as long as you watch out for that, I forget what is it called, that lock that you get on your head, it's called Enrage or something like that.
Death lock.
As long as you watch out for that death lock, you're okay.
Yeah.
But
I think the only other thing I mentioned in the top 10 is the number 1 spot. There's some debate, which is why maybe there's a bit of a difference between the text and the picture. The clone squad, some people have been doing it with Rex and some people have been doing it with Leia. So either are options, and they both net around that 9 million. So
Princess Sodi.
I think that's
Cheeky, I think you did a fantastic job with the top 10. I think it was not only absolutely unbelievable. I feel it was like I felt like somebody who'd never heard anything before, and my ears just opened up for the first time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's an interesting maybe concept that I might want to throw at you guys that might be viable in the near future. If you think about phase 3 and running a Nihilist lead with some Sith, you can get that Annihilus off every 1 or 2 turns. If your Sith are constantly healing, they might be able to put up some ridiculous numbers. Somebody wants to run that sometime.
Where's the resistance at, man?
They do it right. Is it phase 2? Phase 2 they do.
They easily outscored droids by 1 million. I mean, they didn't even make the list.
Right. And that Zeta first order team is just ridiculous.
So
who's going to put all those Zeta mats on there?
That's a lot of Zetas. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Resistance team, Maurice? What do you think about them?
I mean, yes, they require a Zeta, but they're easy to use. You don't need them too heavily modded. Those droids. I mean, you got to think this top 10 list. The numbers that are we're saying can be had. I mean, these are like god mods. These are top end type mods you have on these characters. They're not for the everyday average player. I think Resistance is a good, viable option, all easily farmable, and you need them for the speed challenge anyway.
Do you just out of curiosity, do you happen to run them in the raid?
Yeah, P2.
Okay. I know what's going on. I see this. It's you're talking about it because you've got it, and you're just trying to promote yourself.
Well, I didn't even mention it.
It's like one of those questions where you mention it just because you want people to talk about your roster. It's like, so what do you guys think about what do you guys think about Zeta Qui-Gon? Because I have a Zeta Qui-Gon. Let me tell you a little bit about Zeta Qui-Gon.
His next video's got to be then.
You could have just asked him
fair,
to talk, man.
He's like he's a top 3 player every time in our guild, and our guild's no slouch. So he gets up there and he's doing some serious damage with those guys.
He's gonna have a video called the Resistance Pilots Pest Control.
Maybe.
I think you should. But
maybe.
No, that Resistance team is really good. I agree. I've seen it in action. It works really well. I actually would like to try that team in Arena to see how they do. I don't know how well they'd fare, but I'm sure if you got no,
dude, they're too slow out of the gate. I mean, they're just like, once you get them going, great, but by the time you finally get to go, you're already missing Poe. Like he's already dead. Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, does anybody have a Zeta on Red? Does that help at all?
Oh, I'm not that bold. Not yet.
That's a bold move. I mean, that's like a 6 months down the road Zeta. That's like a next year Zeta. I'll do it eventually when Zetas are in the challenges like purple mats are now. Like if I have like 400 Zetas, like I have like 400 purple mats like right now, I would give Ray her Zeta.
Well, and out of the options in game 4 days, I mean, hers is the worst, and it requires a Zeta. K2 and then Maul does a AOE one, for free.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I see, Tony Richards here in the chat is talking about Kenobi and why he should be in one of these teams here. I agree. Kenobi definitely has a place in the raid. He's one of the best characters in the game for sure. I just think Kenobi's more of a PvP guy. I think he's more of an arena guy right now than he is a raid guy. The first video that I made, with him 7-star was before we had better options. I mean, now that you can just go through the entire phase 1 with Kylo, why would you do anything else? I mean, it's. I understand what you're saying. I just think, yes, I think right now he would work best with Jedi, maybe with like a Zeta Barriss, and like a few other Jedi in phase 1. Maybe with the clones he could work well. But I just think if you're taking one of the clones out to put him in there, or you're taking, let's say, Cody out to put him in there, I mean, you're gonna lose on what you're gonna do better without him. Right. So I think he's really his best place right now, even though he's one of the best characters in the game, would not be in the raid, it'd be in Arena. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, solid top. Go ahead.
Yeah, bear in mind this top 10 list is maximum damage, and like Murray said, it's God mod. It's the absolute best case scenario. It was put together by figuring out all the most popular videos who posted the most ridiculous damage on YouTube, which is why that Resistance team isn't in there, because that video is not available from what we saw. But this is like best
make
case
one, Maury.
scenario. Yeah, there you go. So we know what the next video from Rich
call me out.
But yeah, we were thinking we'll put together a more realistic list for maybe more free to play friendly, or just more that most people are going to have accessible to them.
Yeah, I think like let's say when the raid first dropped and nobody was doing any damage in P1, if you had Kenobi back then, 7-star, which nobody did, then he would have been the best character to have at lead in phase 1 for a long time. But now that people are just starting to get their 7-stars, and there's a lot of viable options because we've been able to figure out the raid, he's just not as great of a raid option anymore as he was back then. But that's the way things go with this game. Things come out, they're going to be hard to beat at first. We'll figure them out. We'll find ways around it. We'll find ways to beat it easier. And then, you'll find teams that just become the way to do it. Like right now, I would say phase 4, that number 1 team there with Leia, That's just the way to do it right now. I mean, this, if you're not if you're not doing it that way, you're not doing it as effective as you possibly can. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say, in phase 3, my opinion would be personally the TIE fighter pilot team. I like that team. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I think that's one of the best ways to do it. But I mean, I think that clone team, we've seen, records being broken with that team right now. So until somebody comes up with a team that's doing better than that, I would say that that's the way to do it. I just don't think that they're, besides that and maybe, Kylo in phase 1, there isn't really a set way to do it in like phase 2 or phase 3 yet. I mean, you could use droids there. You could use your Wedge and Biggs teams there. You could use your Zeta Vader team there. I know a lot of people are using that Zeta Vader team with Tusken Shaman and things like that. But it's not set in stone that that's the way to go. Plus, it takes a lot of Zetas to get that done. So I mean, it's just eventually we'll get a better way to do it. 2 months from now, there'll be a better P2 team than that. So we'll see. Anyway. Thank you again, Cheeky, very much for the top 10. And, we're going to have another top 10 for you next week. So look forward to Cheeky's top 10 next week as well. And let's move on to the next segment here, which is our Q&A segment. I believe good old Maurice has some questions lined up for us here. Maurice, how's it going out there?
Pretty good, man. We've got a real common question tonight. And that says, have any of you guys heard anything about the celebration packs, deals? You know how they do the May the 4th be with you last year. Have you guys heard any information? Any thoughts on that?
Not that I've heard specifically. I'm sure they'll do something for the celebration. But, I mean, last year, the main thing that we got from the celebration was a tease to R2-D2 and like some early looks at like the upcoming raid, but that's pretty much it. We didn't really get any like packs or anything like that. Now May the 4th, I think they'll have like that booster pack. The deals on the packs. I think you'll be able to buy vaults cheaper, and I think you'll be able to get some stuff. But again, this is a new year. There's a Star Wars trilogy movie coming out this year. Last year it was Rogue One coming out. So there's going to be a lot of stuff leading up to The Last Jedi in the Star Wars celebration. So we're going to probably get a look at a new Star Wars trailer for the upcoming movie. We're probably going to get a look at that new Star Wars game by Visceral Games as well that's coming out. So I imagine they're going to have some new content to show us for Galaxy of Heroes on their panel, but also more importantly, there may actually be some stuff or some packs being sold for The Last Jedi or for things that are coming out. So, I mean, maybe they'll have some sort of an early character or something like that they announce for The Last Jedi. Maybe it'll be, who knows? Maybe it'll be the Man in Black, the character that Benicio del Toro is supposed to play. But I think they're going to kind of keep it tight-lipped for the most part until we get to December. So, I think we'll just get some teases here and there. I don't think anything in the game is going to come from The Last Jedi yet. So we'll just probably get a look into the future. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they might go big, but I think that what you're saying, they're just going to keep trend and keep, just keep doing what they're doing. I don't think it's going to be anything super crazy.
They've never been the most forthcoming people as far as the game is concerned. So, I mean, I see them, last year it seems like, because of Star Wars Celebration, we also have, EA Play coming up after that. They're going to want to create some sort of content reel to show with their panel because all the gaming companies are going to be there, Visceral and, the game that makes, the company that makes, Battlefront. They're all going to be there to do that. So I'm sure Capital Games is going to have some sort of footage available for upcoming Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content. So we'll have to keep an eye open for that. But I'm not sure whether it's going to be any type of special packs or anything like that. I do again see them doing maybe the double drops again and the discount on the crystals for May the 4th. I'm sure they'll do that, but not sure about any packs. Anyway, next question, Maurice.
This one's actually, you just mentioned the word pack. Santan Delta wants to know what you guys predict the new mod packs will be and how much they cost.
Well, we've been hearing a lot of different things about that, right? I mean, we've heard they've released like a sort of a test in Japan for the mod packs with the higher price. Anybody have any more information on that? I really don't know much about it.
And nor do I. All I know is just what they told us the other day. Just we get a full set plus a bonus mod. Do you guys think they'll be uncommon or better, like at least green mods?
I don't know. I think the mod packs were pretty good the way they were. If
they were
anything,
fantastic.
I think if anything, they're just going to become more expensive and probably less. They'll probably bear less fruit than the ones in the past. So, if anything, I think it'll be a nerf to the mod packs. This is my opinion. I don't think they're going to give you more for your buck. That's just the way they just haven't. That's just not what they do. So, I mean, they're not going to like give you better mods for less crystals, and that's ultimately what's going on. I think that the price is going to be increased too. So we'll see, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's move on.
All right, next one comes from Mr. Slack Fatback.
Okay, what's up, Mr. Slack? What's up, Mr. Slack? What's up? What are the letters? Mr. Slack Fatback. So MSFB. What's going on, man?
Do you guys think there will ever be a leader ability that provides accuracy? If so, how would you utilize it?
Let's give that question to McLeod.
What accuracy?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't even think. I mean, accuracy doesn't really play a huge part in any of the major characters that I've seen. Most of the time, people tend to ignore those accuracy arrows in favor of speed. I mean, the only person I ever really saw any effect to accuracy was on ALLIDNCE for her to land that stun more often, but then potency up just kind of did the same job. So
I think Ray as well, right? She wouldn't land her like triple tap and stuff.
Right. Yeah. I think it helps with that. It also is going to help with characters like right now we're not in any kind of I'd say, since the mall teams are dodging everything, does that counter to dodge? Like if you have more accuracy, will you hit more?
I've never exactly heard a breakdown of exactly what accuracy counters or goes above. I mean, is the direct counter to accuracy tenacity or not? It's never been quite clear exactly how that mechanic works, and no one seems to have broken it down, and it doesn't seem to have been a big enough factor for anyone to actually break it down. So I seriously doubt they're going to bring that in.
Yeah, I mean, there's not been a whole breakdown of like what's the difference between a dodge and evade that might actually be impacted by accuracy. So
either
mods for that reason.
Either way, the main thing to take from this is that the accuracy mod is only in one place, and it's in the triangle where you have the opportunity to get speed. So I don't think you're ever going to take accuracy instead of 30 speed, period. So
exactly.
I mean, no, even then, I'd still rather have 30 speed.
I notably can't tell any difference when you throw an accuracy.
It also seems like it's not like you're getting 50% accuracy. It's like a small percentage. So I just don't see it really being that much of a game changer. Then again, that could be proved wrong at some point. There may be some mode in the game where we need it, or like some boss that we fight at some point. But right now, I just don't see that. So anyway, let's move on.
All right. All right, Jezza from Syndicate asks, out of all the Phoenix characters that have been released, which one do you guys think will be the most usable outside of the team synergy?
Sabine.
Is that Darktron?
Oh!
Darktron in the house, everybody.
Of course it's Darktron. He chooses chooses the most amazing times to just pop into the chat. He's just it's like an exhilarating. Tron comes to the chat. What's going on, buddy? Good. So, you think Sabine? Huh? I personally think Ezra. Okay, and hear me out. I think with the Qui-Gon Zeta, and I think if you have a Kenobi, I think that Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta Jedi team could be really something to think about. Now, I don't think they'll be good enough to like overtake or dominate against the Sith right now, but I think that they're good enough to beat a Sith team. And I think Ezra's probably got the best set of abilities. I mean, he dispels, he stacks offense, he calls in assist, and he has a chance for a double attack on his basic. I think he's probably the best out of that group to like he's the quickest one you could insert into another team that'll immediately make that team better. I think you can add him into that Jedi team with maybe Yoda and Anakin and Kenobi and Qui-Gon and make that team better. That's just my opinion.
I'm with you on that. I think Ezra is the most useful for the reasons you exactly cited. He's the one that you can throw into an actual team, and it does make it better. What team are you throwing Sabine in that makes that team better?
Right. Unless you're doing a dance team and she's doing the electric slide across the room, then that team's better. But no. Yeah, I think that's probably the best. I mean, anybody else have any different opinions, Cheeky?
No, I was just thinking Ezra did make it onto our top 10 list for phase 1 with Zeta, Qui-Gon Jinn, Anakin, and Barriss, and Magundi.
He's already he's quickly made his way into a top 10 list, right? I mean, that's the quickest addition to a top 10. Character's only been out for 7 days in the top 10. Right? Yeah, I think it's cool. So, all right, let's move on to the next question, Maurice. What do you got?
All right, this one actually came in through a message. I thought it was a pretty good one here. Let me find it. It comes from Pooty Booty 6. Now, characters like the Sith Trooper and Stormtrooper, do you think these characters benefit more from like defensive stats or the classic protection health? I guess he's asking about like the defensive primaries, or like the cross and the triangle,
Can you repeat that question? I really didn't understand it.
Okay, he's asking about Sith Trooper and Stormtrooper. Characters with high defense and they boost defense. Do they benefit more from like defensive stats, like the primaries on the mods and the base defense stat, or do they benefit more from the classic protection and health, like primary stats?
You see, I think you benefit most from the defense stats when you already have a high defense, or when you have a high amount of armor. So, for example, like a character like Fives or Sunfac is going to benefit more from defense percentage than, let's say, Ezra Bridger or Qui-Gon Jinn, right? Like these characters have already a built-in high amount of defense and armor, and the what you get from the mod is percentage. Okay, so if let's say you have a high amount of defense already as a base, getting a 5% increase in your defense or a 10% increase in your defense is going to be a lot more defense. Whereas like if you already have a low percentage base, defense and armor, then it's not going to benefit you as much. So I think that yeah, I think maybe like with Sith Trooper, you'll get a benefit there with his defense. But with Sith Assassin, if you're going, protection, I would rather go protection with her. I don't think Sith Assassin has a ton of base armor or base defense. So, it's going to be case by case basis. But I would personally not go with defense percentage with Sith Trooper. I'd rather go with protection, in my opinion. So, I mean, I'm just saying if you're going to use defense on either one of those two characters, it would be Sith Trooper, not Sith Assassin.
Yeah, and Fives is the highest defense base stat in the game, and the debate is still kind of out as to whether it's better to use health or defense mods on him. I think again, it's people's personal experience on that. Sunfac is a little lower. I use it a blend of both health and defense just because that's the mods I had. But yeah, it's in general, protection and health mod tend to be better on most characters than defensive mod.
We've got Warrior. We've got Warrior for Team Instinct in the chat. What's going on, Warrior? Welcome to the Alliance Live Show. Thanks for coming by. Now, me and Warrior are going to be on the Smithy D live stream tomorrow morning. So you guys should definitely check that out on Smithy's channel. The Jedi Academy live stream will be tomorrow, I think, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So you guys should definitely, come check us out there. But moving along, also, I wanted to make sure. Any of you guys hearing any static back there? Okay, I fixed it. Anyway, moving along, I wanted to mention to check out also the Alliance gaming.com. We didn't mention that earlier. Check out the website. There's tons of great guides and tips. And we also have links to our Discord. So if you're looking for a guild, the Alliance is currently, looking for, members to join, one of our 40 plus guilds. We have everything from, early game level guilds to end game level guilds. Anybody who's a level 20 player can come in and join one of our lower level guilds. And, if you're an 85 player or a veteran, somebody who's been playing for a while, somebody who has a ton of characters, you can join one of our higher tiered AAT heroic guilds. So anywhere you're at in the game, we've got a place for you here at the Alliance. So check out the alliancegaming.com. And if you look on the screen here, we also have a link to our Discord channel as well. Follow those links to check out the content and also to come and chat with us after the show. We're going to be doing an after live show after party over in the Discord channel as well, and everybody's welcome to that, whether you're a part of the Alliance or not. Everybody can come into our Discord just to chat at any time. Okay, moving along now. Maurice, what's the next question?
All right, this was pretty to the point. Sir Loki asks, what do you guys think about Bodhi Zeta? I will read that for you here in case you guys don't know what it is. It is he grants offense up to a random ally for 2 turns who does not have it.
I mean,
I mean that Zeta doesn't really tickle my belly button too much. I got to tell you the truth.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not. It's supposed to, but I mean, no, it's just, it's kind of, it's cool. I mean, but again, I mean, I'd rather. There's so many others. I'd rather get Boba Zeta. I'd rather have Vader Zeta, Qui-Gon Zeta. I mean, I'd rather have Rey Zeta. I mean, we were talking about how worthless that was a few minutes ago.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, is it cool if you found a way to use him? But like we were just talking about how we don't even know where Bodhi fits, right? Like we don't know whether he's good in a Rogue One team, your standard traditional Rebel team. I mean, maybe he's good with an Akbar lead. Who knows? But I mean, I don't know. I think it's not. I think it's not that amazing that it's going to change anybody's team, and I don't think it's going to really make any Rebel team or even a Bodhi that much better. I think it's cool, but you get the same effect. I mean, it's not like it's adding any new element to the game that's game changing, in my opinion.
Yep, that about sums it up.
I mean, aren't there characters that just do that without a Zeta?
Right.
It seems a lot to drop a Zeta to get something that you can get from a character that's probably better and you already have. So,
right. I mean, I think there's characters that just do that forget the Zeta.
Yeah,
I would take Nihilus' Zeta over that. I would take damage.
Oh yeah. That the you're talking about the offense down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Oh no, not offense. Health down. Sorry, health down. The health down is a huge benefit because that actually also adds debuffs. So for players like, for people like Darth Nihilus, who get a higher chance of increasing your cooldowns if you have a negative status effect, that's a huge bonus for a character like that. So anytime you're adding status effects to every single character, every single time they do an ability, that's a great ability. I personally agree with that. But all right, moving on. What's the next question?
All right, this is the last question I really got. A lot of people were asking the same questions about those packs and May the 4th, but this one is from Jagcat. He's level 78. He stays in the top 20, but he's starting to face a ton of Xylos and Xerases. What should he do to counter them? I'm assuming he doesn't really have access to Zetas.
Okay, he's starting to face a lot of the Xylo.
Yeah, like Zeta, Barris, and Xylos.
The best thing to counter it would be probably a Rex lead, because Rex is just too good right now, and I hate him so much.
One thing you can learn from our live streams, and this is probably the most important tip that we can give you, is, whenever Dartron gives you advice, don't listen. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's probably
Wow.
the best thing we could ever say to you. Dartron, thanks for coming. And we're just gonna go ahead and seriously though, I kind of agree. I think a Rex lead would be good with that. I also think, obviously using a Zeta ball team, I mean, as cliche as that is, I think that's probably your best option to face against a Xaris or a Xylo team. But you also have your options with maybe a Rogue One team. I think could beat that. I think you could beat that with a Zeta Qui-Gon team. So I mean, there's other options out there, but Kylo is just so awesome right now that, I mean, he's if you don't have a Zeta Kylo, you should be working towards it for sure. And I think he's just a character you can add in any team, and a great counter to any character in the game is always the mirror match, right? So I mean, a great counter to a Zeta Kylo and a Xaris would be a Zeta Kylo and a Xaris. I mean, so you can just throw that team out there and beat them all the time. Just be faster and have a better supporting cast. That's the most important part.
Xylo on
mirror match
is not Xylo on defense is not nearly as good as Xylo on offense. Xylo on offense is ridiculous. Xylo on defense is decently beatable.
The reason he's not great is because he uses his AOE ability instead of his ability that regenerates protection. I mean, he should use that ability every single time, period. I mean, there's just not, when his cooldowns are reduced and that ability is available, that should be the ability you use every time. I mean, there's no reason to not use that ability. There's no benefit to using an AOE unless somebody's taunting and you're trying to kill a character that has almost no health left. Other than that, that ability to, what's it called, lash out or outrage? Which one is the one that gives the protection back?
Outrage.
Yeah, outrage should be the ability that you use every time unless it's on cooldown. So otherwise, I would never use the AOE unless you already have, unless you have that outrage on cooldown. That's just my opinion.
I actually have a question though. On the outrage, do Kylo's abilities get refreshed if he's like hit by like a passive effect, kind of like Nihilus's health down? Does that have a chance to reset his cooldowns?
Yes, I mean everything does. Even the dots that he gets when he uses special abilities. So like when he does the AOE and he gets the damage over time, every single damage over time, every time that a damage over time takes damage from. So let's say he's got 3 dots, right? That's 3 chances for his cooldowns to be reset on top of the attack that he gets.
That
answered it right there.
So I mean, so like he's almost always going to have his abilities always available. I mean,
and
so
that's
like
why I thought he was kind of bugged, like because he was always had his abilities, but it's from the dots. That's what it is.
It's going to be rarer that you see that he has an ability on cooldown than he doesn't. Like much rarer. So like you'll see like he's going to always have all of his abilities available, unless you're at the start of the match where he's got no dots or negative status effects, and maybe he didn't take any damage. But other than that,
block him.
You can ability block him. Yeah, that's probably the best way to counter him. Maybe a what's it called? A director critic lead with the ability block. That would be a good way to counter Kylo too.
I don't think non-damaging status effects do affect him though. So if you put offense down or defense down, as long as they don't damage him, I don't believe they reset his cooldown.
No, he just takes less damage from health effects. So he doesn't take as much damage from dots He doesn't take as much damage from, let's say, Expose. He doesn't take as much damage from Deathmark. But he still takes the damage. It's just less. So it's like it's been mitigated. So anybody else that would it's really evident when you see like Expose on Kylo, right? Because like if you try to attack Kylo with Expose, it does almost nothing in comparison to what happens to another character. Like if you're using Death Trooper, for example, and you give him the skull, if you give him Deathmark, it's not going to kill him as fast as it would another character. You gave Deathmark to Darth Vader, that'll take Darth Vader out in a couple of seconds. Kylo Ren, no. And that's because he has the Kylo Ren's just ridiculous right now. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, he if he's not on your team, he should be. He's the best player in the game right now, personally, I think. But yeah, I mean, Savage is also very similar, right? Savage, like Warrior says here, is he's got health regen, and it seems like you can't dispel Savage. Like every time I try to dispel Savage with Nihilus, if he's got a Zeta, he gets his buffs back right away. So it's like, no matter what you do, Savage will always have those buffs. So like even if you dispel him, I think even if you give him like buff immunity, I still think he gets those buffs. So, anyway, yeah, he's an interesting character to have too. Any of you guys have a Zeta Savage?
No.
I'm thinking of doing him.
You call it Savage. Savage is a male, Dartron.
Yes, I corrected myself.
He meant Ventress instead. Saj. That's what he.
No, Dartron's got a Savage Opress poster right on top of his bed. That's what he just found out that Savage was actually a female. It was actually a male. So this is groundbreaking stuff here. Dartron's just figuring out a few things about life. But yeah, no, I mean, other than that, so that's all the questions we have, Maurice. Nothing left.
I think Nukin's typing something.
Yeah, Nukin's asking like he wants to ask one, but I'm not sure if he's going to ask one.
He's keeping us in suspense.
Why don't you get Nukin to come in here and ask his question on his own? Why doesn't he come into the chat in Discord and just ask his question on the live show?
Ooh, Nukin, VIP.
Nukin, that's an invitation. If you're going to run a triple Zeta team, what is the order you should Zeta them?
Thank you for keeping us in suspense for that. Thank you.
Nukin, I have to say that's the stupidest question I've ever seen. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, I just don't understand. Like, so you're asking Savage or Nihilus first, but you're talking about a triple Zeta team? Like you're saying you're talking about both Nihilus Zetas, or are you talking about like what are you talking about? Yeah, come into the voice, man. Come into voice and jump on the show. Ask us your question.
All right. Well, we got a down.
So Warrior, you your favorite Zeta so far, Savage, even better than Kylo? I don't know. I think Kylo's is unbelievable. I mean, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed with either of them, but I think Kylo's is great. Somebody has to give. Hey, what's going on, Nukin? How are you?
How are you guys doing?
Hey, Nukin.
What's up, Cheeky?
We're doing pretty good. Well, elaborate on your question a little bit here, Nukin. What were you trying to ask? By the way, this is Nukin from Team Skunk Republic.
Thanks, Ramon. So I hear you guys are doing Q&A, and I get to be honored to do the last question. So, I think that I wanted to, brainstorm with you. And here's my question. So, if you're running Darth Maul Zeta lead, obviously there's more Sith Zetas. There's Darth Sidious. There's Savage. There's Darth Nihilus is unique. I was just wondering what would be the order after you Zeta Maul's leadership, and you wanted to run like a triple or a quad Zeta Sith team. What would the order be in your guys' opinion?
Are you saying like that's like Kylo's not an option? Because otherwise, Kylo.
I want to run a 5-man Sith team.
Okay, so Kylo's so it has to be all Sith. All right,
Kylo by default is not an option. Yes.
All right, so I would say personally, Savage Opress. Then I would say Count Dooku, and then I would say Darth Nihilus, and then I would say Darth Sidious. My opinion.
How about you, Marth? What do you think?
I agree with what Riemann said.
So you're thinking Savage first after Maul.
Yep.
Right.
And then Dooku, you said?
Well, yeah. I think Savage is kind of he kind of adds a lot of value with his health regen and things like that, and I think Dooku adds some pizzazz there with his protection regen, but Nihilus's unique is great. It's just I don't know. You could kind of interchange. I think it depends on what you're looking for. I personally wouldn't run an all Sith team, right? Like I would mix in Kylo or something like that. But if I was running an all Sith team and that's absolutely all I wanted to do, then yeah, I would say you need to have that Savage unique Zated, and then I would go with Count Dooku's, and then Nihilus's. And then I think, if you're gonna Zeta anything next, I'd say it would be the Sidious unique, yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks for answering my question, man. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I think you should run away and go do it right now.
If I had the Zetas, I would. Savage is up next.
Okay, you're gonna do that, and then we're gonna have you on next week just to show us that you did it. And if you didn't, we're gonna throw a bunch of negative comments at you for not listening to us.
Get those get 60 Zetas
to my YouTube channel and download all my videos.
That was actually a thought of mine, and I think we're gonna do that eventually. We're gonna have a segment where we bring somebody on here, give them advice, okay, and they'll have like 3 or 4 weeks to go do what we said or what we think they should do, okay, and then we'll bring them back on. Not use him in arena once. 7 stars. There are people out there that have been dying for Sunfac to become a farmable character so they can use him in arena. And Dartron, just to let you guys all know out there, has had him on his bench the entire time.
Because I picked up B2.
You are despicable. No, but
because I had B2, what I'm gonna use back for it. B2 is even better.
Did something happen to my voice? I went robo.
Yeah.
I think they lost sound for a second.
Okay, are we back? Is the sound okay? It's back. Okay, good. Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties in week 2. We're going to continue to improve just to bring you guys the most quality live stream that we possibly can, week in and week out. So we'll try to get these sound difficulties figured out, and hopefully over time we'll find the best way to do it. I've seen a lot of people on the streams using Google Hangouts to do their live shows, so that's great. I know that works, but we're going to over time figure out what the best scenario is, because I'd like to bring in people from Discord to have them actually come on to the show and ask their questions and things like that. And I think that the Discord platform allows for us to do that a little bit easier. But ultimately, we need to also make sure that the sound quality is there as well, because that's even more important than bringing people into Discord. So we'll take a look at how the sound comes out after this show. I'm going to take a look at the replay, and if we have to make some adjustments for next week, we will do that. But I think we've got it pretty well this time. But anyway, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. Again, we definitely appreciate everybody coming down to check us out. If you get a chance, go on over to thealliancegaming.com. Again, that's www.thealliancegaming.com, and follow the instructions over into our Discord for the Discord after show. So the live show after party is going to be in the Alliance Discord. Again, go to thealliancegaming.com to follow the instructions to go there. We'll also have a link in the description of this video that can bring you there as well. And also check us out next Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, for the Alliance live show number 3. We'll have an all new top 10 for you, and I'm sure there'll be some interesting stuff that comes in the game at that point. We'll be right on the cusp of Star Wars Celebration, so maybe we'll have some more information about that as well. And as always, you'll have the wonderful guests that we have here today, as long as everyone's available. Also, check out Smithy D's Jedi Academy live show with me, Warrior, Smithy D, and the Reality Skew Gamer guys, as well as Sir Loki and a few other people. We're going to all be on there tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And on Wednesday, check out the Reality Skew Gamers live show as well. We definitely want to support those guys too. So thanks guys again for coming out. Anybody else have anything they want to add? Anybody, you guys want to say goodbye?
I just have one quick thing here before we actually sign off. Let me just get this in real quick. So the website is up and going. Everyone, please go check that out. There's a number of different writers. So if there's content you want us to write on or content you want to see, please let us know. One of our writers will get to it and put out a guide, a lesson, a plan, whatever you want to see. Let us know so we can make sure that material is available for you guys. Please.
You wanna plug your podcast, Nukin?
Sure. If you guys like listening to podcasts while going to work or pretending like you are working at work, you can check out this cool podcast that the Republic guys do that I'm a producer of. Just search SWGOH, and then the podcast is called SWGOH In Depth, and I think you guys would enjoy it. Also, let's party it up in the live show after party.
Yeah, guys, again, head on over to the Alliance Discord for the Alliance live show after party. Follow the instructions in the AllianceGaming.com website or in the description of this video. And, we look forward to seeing you guys there. But again, thank you guys for joining us again for the second show. We'll be back next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we look forward to seeing you then. But as always, may the force be with you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.